All right, guys, what's up? Good morning. Time to kick off this Wednesday before Halloween. Who's excited for Halloween? I know my kids are super excited. Ivy, I see that picture of your little one there in WhatsApp. I know she's probably excited to get to trick or treating and all that good stuff. Our little one, Bennett, he's going to be an alligator this year, and he's taken on that costume in his full role, attacking people. So Halloween's coming up here tomorrow. Shout out to the Yankees fans out there going into the next game. Looked like they were going to get kicked out there for a minute, but they kept it going in the World Series. So hopefully they'll pull it through and have a big comeback. But on today's call, you guys are going to get to hear from two of the top agents, hopefully, as long as we can get this live stream to work okay. But Julie and Becky, okay, you've got the Freedom and Faith Award winner of last year, and you've got the Rookie of the Year last year. And check it out, collectively, I was just running some numbers between the two of them. Collectively, they've done over $530,000 worth of final expense premium just in the past few years, just between themselves. So huge tips coming for you guys on today's call from them. So stay tuned for that. But before we jump into that, shout out to you guys for having an amazing week. All right, if you're trying to get a hold of me in the agency, I got a new phone and I cannot get text messages for some reason. So you can actually text my email address. All right, Ryan at FF Agents. If you have an iPhone, you can text that. I will get it. If not, if you have a question throughout the day today while I get this thing working, just shoot me an email, or you can do it in WhatsApp as well. So jumping into today's call, guys, we're going to talk about the secret, to success. All right, that's what we're going to title it on today's call, the secret to running to be a top agent. All right, I'm hoping you guys are going to get to hear from Julie and Becky here shortly with their tips, but I want to give you guys just 3 quick points, all right, and how to actually become that top agent. All right, and believe it or not, whether you're a brand new agent or you're an experienced agent, it doesn't matter. All right, if you want to go into the rest of this year and into next year putting your name at the top of the chart, it's really simple to do that. Okay, there's just 3 points, and if you follow them, you're going to find that it's super, super simple, and you're going to find yourself at the top of this chart. So what's number 1, guys, is setting the target. Okay, guys, the way that you become one of the top performers in anything that you're doing is setting that goal for yourself to actually be there, to be in that spot, all right, and to believe that you're deserving of that spot. So think about, what has your target been so far this year? All right, if you look at the top 5 agents year to date, their goal has always been to be in that top. Erin, shout out to her. Her goal this year, I know it, was to be the agent of the year. She's led the way pretty much this entire year. All right, but she's got her sights set on that. So set your target. All right, guys, if you're a brand new agent, believe it or not, you actually have a good step in becoming that top agent, okay, that top leader, because you don't have any bad habits, right? You're just following the system. So you can find yourself in the top 5, all right, if you just set your mind to it. Look at Jody. You guys got to hear from Jody on here a few calls ago, right? Rookie this year, and she's in the top 5 year to date. So setting the target, setting the bar. If you don't set that destination, you're really never going to get to where you're wanting to go. So that's number 1. Number 2 is creating the plan. Okay, if you want to be a top agent, what do you have to do? What should your plan look like? Okay, there's 3 things that you need, all right, to break this up. Number 1 is your schedule. Okay, guys, time is a big deciding factor in the results that you're going to get in this industry, right? How much time you put into this is what you're going to get out of it. All right. And that's just time in the field or on the phones, calling or knocking on doors. The more time you put in, the more success you're going to have, right? You're going to get told no a lot, but it's impossible to have a bad year if you put enough time into this career and put enough effort into it. So what does that schedule look like? Okay. Number 2 in creating the plan is, what does your leads look like? Okay. We've got some cool things coming down the pipeline as far as leads and some updated options. But for right now, what does that look like? Okay. If I look at the top 10 agents, they have a consistent lead game plan every single week. All right. They're getting this many leads in. All right. Whether it's the Facebook leads, the direct mail leads, or the digital leads. Okay. It doesn't really matter. There's agents working 50-cent age leads that are in the top 5, and there's agents that are buying brand new leads that are in the top 5, right? It just comes down to, what does your game plan look like? How consistent are you, okay, with that lead investment into your business? All right. And then lastly is support. Okay. What kind of support do you need to have in order to be a top agent? Okay. Think about your significant other if you have one. Think about your kids. Think about your family. What did they need? All right, in order to help you hit that target. There's some sacrifices, all right, that you might have to make. There's scheduling, there's things going on, right? Craziness. And if you have that support back home, it makes this job so much easier, right? I remember when Alicia and I first started in this, we looked at like kids' daycare schedule and who's working when and where are we working and who's going to pick the kids up and drop them off, all this different stuff, right? But we had a goal, all right, and we wanted to run really hard together towards that goal. And it made it just like it just took the pressure off, right, of trying to run to be top agents, because we both were clear with one another on what we wanted to achieve. So 3 quick things, guys. Create the plan, right? Schedule, lead, support. If you can do those 3 things, you're going to have an amazing next 12 months, all right, in this industry. And then lastly, guys, is execute. Okay. If you want to run to be a top agent, you got to execute on that plan. Jim Rohn says discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment, right? You can do a vision board, you can draw everything out, but it's all in the activity you put into it to see what you're going to get out of it. So how are you going to execute on that plan? How are you going to execute on that goal for yourself, right? Bible is very clear. It says he directs our steps, right? We might want to set the target we want to reach, but ultimately God directs our steps into running towards that path. So keep that on your mind when you're running to be a top agent over the next 12 months, is it's possible. And if you just do those 3 things, okay, you're going to be in the top 5, I promise you. And you're going to be hitting all of these cool incentive trips. So enough of me talking. I want to hear from Julie and Becky. So they're with me today. They're in the car together as they're going out there in the field. So I'm going to add them to the stage here. Julie, Becky, what's up? Can you guys hear me?
Hey, Ryan.
Hey, guys. Thanks for jumping on here. So first off, shout out to you guys. Isn't that math insane? Over $531,000 of net issued business just between the 2 of you over like the last few years. Becky, I know you got started in 2023 and won the Rookie of the Year award. Julie won the FFA award and have been just crushing it. You earned the Greece incentive trip. So first, to kick this call off, guys, tell everybody what you guys were doing before jumping into insurance.
First,
I was doing home health a couple years prior to doing insurance, but before that, I was just a stay-at-home mom, driving myself insane on the couch.
Hey, that's the hardest job out there, Becky.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in between jobs, when I got out of the Marines and we were moving, I had to be a stay-at-home dad for like a month. And at that point, I didn't care if I went and picked up garbage on the side of the road. I had to get out of the house, right? So
Yeah.
that's awesome. So home health for you, Becky, or home health for you. What about you, Julie?
So my last real job before that was I worked as a prison guard for 5.5 years. And then I went in to work with my husband. I just helped him with a Little Debbie route every day. But that's what I was doing before this.
Julie, I had no idea that you were a prison guard. That's cool. Alicia never told me that. So,
Yep.
Okay, so you were corrections officer and then doing that route. So, what has this been like for you guys, right? Julie, you've been at this game now. It's crazy how fast time flies since 2021. And ever since 2021, you've just been really at the top of the chart. So what have you found? Like tell somebody who's maybe looking at where they're at now in their career and trying to jump into this, like what was that transition like for you and how's the last few years been?
So at first it was scary. I know it was a blessing from God, but at the time it was very scary because I was going through a lot of changes in my life. And at first it was rough, but I stuck with it and it's been so worth it. So worth it. working for y'all has just been a true blessing, and just everybody, the whole group, and just being able to make my own schedule and be able to be with family when I need to be. But this has been, I love it. I love it. Working with older people anyway is is my thing, and just helping these families and just seeing what they would have been sitting in if we haven't sat with them and got them in a different plan, and that just means the world to me.
Amen to that, Julie. I can attest to that. I think every single day you're texting in your call to close or seeing in WhatsApp of how you were able to help somebody out. So just a huge blessing to the community. I look at your guys' numbers, right? Over $500,000, and pretty much every single one of those policies that were inside of that was somebody that you guys were putting in just to a better spot. Like they just were in an awful spot with their insurance plan or loans on it, all kinds of crazy stuff. So big blessing to the community. What about for you, Becky? What was it like going from home health, jumping into this? I know you teamed up with Jenna. And so how did that all go about, right? Did Jenna talk you into doing it? Did you see what she was doing and wanted to jump into it? Or?
I had just basically saw what she was doing. She never pushed me into it. She just kind of laid it on the table when I was like, Jenna, look, I got to go back to work. I need some money. I got to get out of this house. And she just kind of laid it out there. Well, you can try it. And so I was like, you know what do I got to lose? I'm not going to do anything, going back to home health. It was barely livable wages. And so I was like, if I'm going to leave my child and make that sacrifice, because that killed me, I did not want to leave my little boy. And so I was like, if I'm going to make that sacrifice, I'm going to have a reward to actually show my family for my time away. And so I did it, and it kind of stuck, and I quit in my head so many times. I said, I'm going to give it a week. I'm giving it 2 more weeks. If this does not work out, I'm getting a real job. But I've just kind of stuck around like a little puppy dog, just every morning putting on my shoes and trying to make the best of it.
Hey, you're doing pretty good at that, Becky, taking home Rookie of the Year last year. Let's dive into that. So you jumped into this, just like you just said, right? To give a better life for you, for your boy. And so how did you get Rookie of the Year, right? Like, to give people a concept of this on the call, you average way over $10,000 a month of like legit good business, issued, paid, after chargebacks, all that stuff. So what went into that? Like maybe there's a new agent on the call wanting to win Rookie of the Year this year. How were you able to do that?
I think mainly is just waking up and going every day. I had to push myself, because when you're doing this job, you make your own schedule, which is nice, but you also got to push yourself every morning to say, I've got to get out of the bed. It's easy. You have nobody to answer to. Nobody's going to get on to if you don't go to work, but you're hurting yourself. So you have to wake up and you just have to go. Even when them chargebacks are coming in, and they will a lot, the only way to get rid of them is just new business. You've got to be out there knocking on doors.
That's awesome. I love the hustle. And that's the secret, guys, right? Like I kind of felt like I knew what you were going to say there, Becky, because I see you do it every day. Is you just wake up and go to work every day. Like right now, you guys are on your way out there to the field. So let's dive into this, Julie. So you were able to not win, but earn the Greece trip last year. What was that like? First time on an airplane, and kind of give people a tip, like everyone running for Cancun, how can they lock that trip in?
I'm not gonna lie, I was scared to death. But once I got on that plane, I'll be honest with you, it's not like I thought it was gonna be. It really was. I loved it. I really enjoyed it, and it was just once in a lifetime thing, and I knew that I probably would never be able to go, ever go by myself. And it was just a true blessing to get to see the culture, and it was just awesome. It was awesome. And just like I want to tell everybody, especially these new people, we all have our bad days. It's just like the other day I went toward Lumberton by myself, and it was starting to get towards dark, and I was just like frustrated. I wanted to give up, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. That last house that I got 4 policies out of that house.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, even when you feel like you want to give up, keep pushing. Don't give up on yourself, because there's somebody that needs us, and she needed help.
What caused you to go to that last house, Julie, right? Because
I
I've
don't
been in that situation. You go all day, don't sell anything. What caused you to push to that next one?
I don't know. And I thought she was gonna cuss me out because when I knocked on the door, she nothing, and then I rung the doorbell. Well, I didn't think the doorbell rang, so I was gonna knock again. And boy, she slung that door open. I was like, "Oh Lord, I've done messed up." And but she was ended up being the sweetest lady. I was there like 4 or 5 hours. She was a talker, and she talked, and I would try to get her to come back over to start the application, and she got to talking again. But hey, it's okay because I got that relationship with her. And then her daughter came in and she was just tickled to death too, was able to help her and her daughter. So it was a blessing. And I'm so thankful that I went and didn't go home.
That's awesome, Julie. Sometimes it's just that very last one. I can't
It is.
tell you how many days it's been nothing until like 4, 5, 6 o'clock at night, and then you
Yeah.
finally get one. So how'd you transition into helping the whole family out, Julie, right? Like you were there for the lead, you helped them. I think a lot of agents miss that. You know, kids walk in, spouses walk in. How do you transition to be able to help everybody in the house?
So it's not always easy because everybody knows this. Sometimes, now she didn't have a husband, but she did have the daughter come in. Sometimes, if the wife is nice, the husband's going to be ugly, vice versa. But now the daughter, but I don't know. Me and her mom was sitting there, and she asked her daughter. She said, "What do you think about this?" And I showed her daughter everything, and included her, and I think that helped. And then she's like, "Well, I've got some policies." And I said, "Well, honey, we can review them." And she said, "Yeah, please do." And come to find out, she was way overpaying. And she was tickled to death that I come by because she was struggling to pay what she was paying, the daughter was. And she said, "Honey, thank you so much." So I've saved her like $60 a month, and she was just happy.
That's huge, right? $60 a month was that? Like it was well over $500 a year for them.
Yeah. But just
In savings.
including people, and I include, I didn't brush her off like, "Oh, we're doing this over here with your mom," but she was just she was thankful. And some people get kind of aggravated, but once they kind of see what's going on and how you can help them, that you're not just trying to change something, that you really are
Mhm.
there to make it better for them, I think, that's when people realize that you're there for the right reasons.
Yeah, that's so true. And that's something I can see with you and Becky every day is when you guys are with your clients, you're never just selling them something,
Uh,
right? Like you're always trying to figure out like, is what they have good or can we put them in something better? Like, how can we actually help people? I think that's why you guys find yourself at the top of the leaderboard every single week. So nice work there, Julie. Question for you, Becky. Let's talk about like how you set up your day, right? So do you guys call ahead? Like, are you guys making appointments right now, showing up? Are you just showing up at the door? Give everybody like what your day looks like.
We're just showing up door knocking. I'm not good on the phone. I don't even really like calling from the driveway because I get hung up on. And so I just feel like that gives them a chance to tell you no. And so just go back and keep knocking until you put a face, and actually make a connection. That way I'm not good at all on the phone. I sound like a pan of cornbread. I'm not a phone person. Not at all.
So hey, some people are super intimidated by just showing up, right? Like they think they're gonna show up and the person's gonna be like, "Why didn't you call me? I
Yeah.
wasn't expect." Do you see that, or like, what's the normal reaction you guys get when you show up to the door?
The normal reaction, I've already taken care of that is the main one. Or, I'm good. I've got more insurance than I know what to do with. And we're like, well, that's good because that's why we're here to help, just to make sure what you've got is the best for you. But that's normally the gist of it. I have
Mhm.
enough. I have enough. And we get the normal door slammed in our face. The other day, I think 2 or 3 times back to
Yeah.
back. I mean,
But don't you just have
yeah,
to keep going.
you just gotta, the next person may just be the nicest person you've met.
And always give them a card no matter what,
Yeah.
even if they're ugly to you. I have had people that's been ugly to me, and 2 years down the road, they still have my card and call.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't never know.
That's so true, Julie. I had somebody like that one time. They were like super just hateful at the door. And so I gave them the card, and I think it was like 2.5, 3 years later, they called me randomly and said, "Hey, you had stopped by." I didn't even remember who it was, but I went back to their house because they called me. I'm like, this was the person that was that rude, like slam the door in my face, right? But you just don't know what kind of day people are having, And
That's
sometimes,
right.
guys, when you show up, you literally are one of the only guests, one of the only new people that a lot of the clients we help see the whole year, right? And a lot of them are just waiting for somebody to talk to. So, Julie, what's been right? I feel like every time you're in a house, if you can help the person, you usually are. Like you're usually not walking away without a sale. So, talk to people about like how do you get through the presentation and actually close the deal. A lot of agents seem to struggle with actually getting the signatures and wrapping it up, right? Like how do you go about actually making sure that you're completing that sale?
The biggest thing, especially if people have been in something for a while, always, whether you have the policy in front of you or not, always call that carrier if you can. If it's not too late in the day or whatever, that right there shows a lot, and they can hear from that company. That a lot of times will help you in a sale. But just as far as the signatures and stuff, I haven't had. Oh, where'd it go?
Did you lose it?
I think I did.
Oh, I can still hear you, Julie. I just
Okay.
can't see you.
Okay. Sorry. So no, just
I don't know.
I really never have had a problem with the signatures and stuff. I've had maybe a couple people with the banking, and I'm, just assure them, it's kind of like with your power bill or anything else. That way to automatically come out of your account, because God forbid if you were to go, say, on a vacation, or you went in the hospital or anything and you missed that draft, then your insurance is gone. You know what I'm saying? Or it's going to lapse. And after that, people usually don't seem to have a problem with it. So that's just how I maneuver around that. I mean, I have had a few, I'm not gonna lie. I think I had two that just did not want to do it. And sometimes you can't. I mean, if you can't make them do it,
Mhm.
but that's very few and far between.
Yeah, that's so true. Sometimes if you just have someone that's just not receptive to you at all, hey, just
That
move on to the next one, right? But it is few and far between like that. Well, that's awesome, guys. I love the tip. So last question for both of you, right? Let's talk about discipline. All right. So you two show up to work. You've got your families. You got a lot going on outside of work. How do you structure your schedule, right? Because I think the biggest struggle agents have is they're running to try to get to where you guys have gotten to in your career is that they let like all these other things kind of distract them, pull them away. So with this not being a W-2 job, right, you get to set your schedule, work where you want to work, whenever you want to work. How do you guys like hold yourself accountable to be able to do that?
You just have to know that you've got to get out of that house every morning. We try to schedule at least a week or two ahead if we're going to work together. And just set it out the days that, me and her working together the rest of the week. What I have, I'm setting this plan out, or if I've got something to do, but I'll let, like my daughter, she knows that she's worried about where I'm at sometimes, but she has my location, but they know not to, unless she just calls like 4 times back to back. I know it's not an emergency. You know what I'm saying? It was emergency, but she knows not to mess with me while I'm in the field. And just keep that discipline, just keep going. And it is hard some days when it's cold outside and you're like, but you just have to keep going and realize that you're the one making the money. And if you don't go out and do that job, you're not going to get anything. You're not going to help anybody.
Love that tip, Julie. What about you, Becky? Becky, how old's your little boy?
My little boy's 4, and with me, I have to dump a lot of the load onto my 17-year-old daughter, and thank the Lord for her. And I pay her very well, and I remind her of that very often because I do ask a lot from her. She is basically my second parent. I mean, not to me, but she helps parent my child. I couldn't do it without her, but there's a lot that I do have to ask of her that I should be doing, but she also knows that I'm helping make a better life for her. I'm helping to be able to put aside money so she can go to what school she wants to and give her the things that I really couldn't do for my older kids. I mean, we lived paycheck to paycheck. I didn't have extra money. And so I try to do way more for them because they do have to sacrifice so much of my time. A lot of times me and Julie don't roll in until it's 10 o'clock at night. I've not saw my kids all day long. I see them long enough to go to bed. But then the next week I try to take one day off. You know, if I work real hard this week, next week I'm going to take a day off and spend time with them. I just try to balance everything so that I can be here and be there. But I've mainly learned that I have to put things on other people now. I mean, it sucks, but I do.
Yeah, I know that that sacrifice is a tough one to make, Becky, but I look back like when we, even now, like kids in daycare, kids with babysitter, we got 4 kids, a lot going on. But then I look at what that gives them, you know, like when I remember when Landon was probably like 2, I always get my dates wrong. He was probably like 2.5, 3. Tanner was just a little one. And we would always be working this and that. But if you put the work in now, in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, it gives you all that time back and meaningful time back where you can go on a vacation, you go to Disneyland with them and not worry about, you know, how much stuff costs or different things.
Yeah.
So the way that this industry is structured with renewals and all of that, each year you're just adding to that income. And it really gives you the chance where in a few years you have that lifestyle, kind of that freedom bought back, right? So it's kind of like, as Dave Ramsey says, like if you do what other people don't want to do now, so you have a life like other people don't have later type of thing. So shout out to you for doing that and for hustling and being out there and working hard. So super, super proud of you guys. Last question as we wrap up today's call. What is that hanging from your guys' car mirror? Is that a pink donut, Julie? What is that?
It's a scent thing.
I was like, I don't know if is that like a good luck charm? Is that an AP finding?
No, I did pull this up and I keep my cross up here too. Now that's my good luck.
Okay.
Yep.
I think everybody in the WhatsApp chat is asking what that thing is and where can they get it?
Yes, it's called a Freshie.
A Freshie. Okay. So if you guys want to sell
stinky trailers we come out of.
There you go. If you guys want to sell insurance like Julie and Becky, you need to get you a Freshie off of the rear view mirror of your car. And that's all that you need to be a top agent, right? Right, Julie?
That's right.
That's it. All right, cool. Well, hey guys, I appreciate you for jumping on here. Super proud of both of you. You guys are setting the stage and just doing a phenomenal job. So appreciate you guys for jumping on here today. Guys, that's all we got for you for today's call. Let's go out and have a big day today. Big day tomorrow and wrap this week up strong. So appreciate you guys for jumping on. We'll be back here on Friday.
Thank you for having us.
Bye.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Becky.
Thank you. Bye.